Hello, I am Queen Chioma and I am from London, UK. And I'm an international motivational speaker, TV presenter, PR and media coach, and a publicist.
She does everything. And what she's come to chat to us about today is I put out a tweet in the awful news about Sarah Everard's disappearance and then what has come from then with the arrest of a police officer, originally kidnapped, now murder. And it's brought up this discussion on Twitter and so many social medias about why don't women feel safe? What, and what is classed as sexual harassment? Because The Guardian posted an article saying 97% of women say they have been sexually harassed, and a lot of people or a few blokes or whatever were going, but it's not all men. No, it's not all men, but it's nearly all women, and that's the point. So would you like to tell me and tell everybody your own experience with sexual harassment?
Yes, most certainly. Oh my goodness, such a timely topic. And thank you so much for this because it's so needed. And I definitely think that, I definitely think that what I've noticed is, I remember just being young. I remember at a time when I was just going on the tube and I knew someone, there was a man I knew. And I remember him just basically, I was saying hello, like on the way back from work. I think I was like 17 years old. And I just remember him sort of like holding my hand. And I thought, oh, maybe a bit like I thought it was more of like holding my hand because how have you been? Hope you're well, like sort of like in a friendly way or sort of uncle version. And I was like, oh, fine. And then all of a sudden it turned from holding my hand to not letting go. And then it turned into, for example, I like you. He was saying, I like you. I really like you. I have a lot of things to offer. And just saying all these weird things. And I was just like thinking, I just started to feel like almost like panicky. And I was thinking, let my hand go. And I was just thinking, I didn't think that you're probably 40 something and I'm 17. What on earth do we have in common? Why are you thinking of me this way? And I just felt a bit like, oh my goodness, this is just really strange. But this has not been the first time I've had like time when I was just walking on my street and I remember just a man about 60 years old saying the same sort of thing to me, just stopping me and saying, oh, I like you, I have money, I have a business, I can support you and all of this. And I was just like, I'm 16. And like you said, there's just been times, or not necessarily, just in different ways. There's been times where I could be walking and sometimes you feel uncomfortable to go past certain men because you feel that you're going to get the whistles, and you do. This could be like builder men and so on and so forth. And there have also been, I remember there was one time when I was coming back from, I think it was college or school. I think it was school, about 15, 16 years old, same sort of age again. And I remember there was someone I knew. And this person is someone I know, so I would never think anything like this, similar to the other incident. And I just remember just the person trying to corner me and saying that we should do it, but in the corner in broad daylight. And I was like, have you lost your mind? Have you literally gone crazy right now? Because the person was cornering me and saying, let's go there and let's do it now. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And I literally feel that caused me a lot of anxiety. So I'm just really, really happy that you asked these questions. I made a promise to myself this year that I'm going to share more of my stories of what I've been through, because I've kind of held it in a lot over the years. And sometimes we think these things aren't that important because we think we're successful, we're moving on, we're doing great things. But there are so many women going through this. I know that there are some men going through it too. They've been harassed as well sexually. And I think it's a very important topic, especially with what's happened in the media. And I just think it's such an important thing to share and not keep all inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, thank you so much for telling me that. And I am so sorry, because this is the issue. With it being that 97% of women have been sexually harassed, what do men count as sexual harassment? If you're bothering somebody, when does it become sexual? It becomes sexual when he's not letting go of your hand and then telling you that he has, whether or not he's saying, I want to have sex with you, he's talking to you in an endearing, fancying way. And that's where holding your hand because he likes your hand, you know what I mean? So, and it's that thing with feeling scared of whistling, like, I shared my own experience of actually getting followed, but because I
Yeah.
wasn't actually attacked, people might think, oh, what is that though? So I was walking down from my friend's house at 7 in the morning. I had my headphones in, I was 17, and I felt like there was somebody behind me, and I turned round because I saw shadow. And this man got right in my face, and he was like just looking at me. And I was so scared. I took my headphones out, because it wasn't just stood, he was getting in my face. And I said, "What, you're scaring me." And he said, "What's your name? Do I know you?" Just so random. And I remember he spoke with him, and I was like, "You're scaring me, like leave me alone." And proceeded to walk off. He followed me slightly, then went back up the road, got in his car and sped past me. And you'll have seen from my tweet, all I can think even now, I'm not saying I think about it all the time, but when I do think about it, all I can think is, was he trying to get me in his car? And he didn't say anything to me, but he was harassing me. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And it is really, like you said, it's you're walking, you're minding your business, and your space it's sacred. It's not for anyone to invade. If you wanted the time or something, that's different. If you feel like, oh, excuse me, do you mind if you want the time? That's different. But when you know the person's just acting weird and just strange, and you're like, what's going on? And then it drives past. I can only imagine the kind of anxiety that gave you.
Well, that's the thing though, isn't it? It's also the what if. The other time I'd had like somebody actually be completely inappropriate with me was I was 16, which is why I can kind of relate with the being 16 years old. So I thought I'll share my 16-year-old story. So I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and he was 17, and he was from Birmingham, and we'd been to the shops together, and we'd met his uncle, which is his dad's brother. And then I won't mention names, but when we'd got back to the house, his dad, so obviously we've just seen his dad's brother, came in the room, and he was like, all right, like my brother's just text me, your uncle's just text me, just seen which is his name, but I'm not going to say it, and a walking pair of tits, referring to me in front of me at the age of 6. And he was laughing. So my boyfriend's dad just reiterated what his brother had said to him, and he found it funny and appropriate to say in front of me. Now, what is that classed as? Do you know what I mean? It's just shocking.
It is really, and it's almost as if there's this, I don't know if it's a lack of education, but there's this boundary that needs to be, or this explanation. I don't know whether it's something that they just think it's funny and it's just a little bit of, but it's like, no. And sometimes, exactly. And sometimes there's boundary issues in terms of even like you could not lock your door, and sometimes they just come in, or like you might be, I remember when we had a shared toilet, and I remember just sometimes things like that where there's shared toilets, and you know, maybe someone just sort of thinks it's okay to peep over or whatever it would be. And I think there are just boundary issues, and I so think that this interview or this conversation, this discussion is needed, because it almost gives an opportunity for anyone that's listening that is a male figure that thinks this is normal and thinks this is fine. Oh yeah, just, you know, smack the bum or whatever. It's not fine. It's not normal.